Broadcasting live from the mana confluence on the plane of Theros, this is Tap Tap Concede.
I tap for red.
It is really black.
Red.
You both pay life.
Okay.
What? No, I'll pay.
Sorry, no,
I'll pay his
lose,
life.
You lose one life.
Lose one.
Green.
Life. How do you? Okay.
What?
I was gonna cut off my finger, but that seems
Don't.
okay.
Is that's not 1% of your body anyway, or 1/10?
1.
No,
Well, I mean, it's
not 1/10.
How much would 1/20 be? Like,
I guess it is
120.
120. Yeah.
hack your arm off.
It'd have to be. Like,
So I
probably
need to actually
do
give
the
you
rest.
more.
Yeah,
Jesus.
more than that.
Oh man.
I want
Can
my
you
pound of
imagine what a
flesh.
wizard looks like at 1 hit point?
Like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm still alive.
He's a brainstem and an eyeball, just
Yikes.
cursing.
and hating everything.
Yeah. All right.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham.
I'm James.
Hi.
That's
Oh.
Alex.
And I'm Kathleen. Hi.
Alex is really bad at this.
The order went. I was scared.
It's hard when there's no order when Graham starts and he's in
It's
the
like,
middle of it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to the end and come back around, or I don't know?
I'm gonna go around the horn, yeah.
All right, let's do this.
So we're gonna talk about some Journey Into Nyx stuff, some actual hands-on Journey Into Nyx, because
We put our hands on it.
yeah,
Suck it.
It was pre-release
Wow.
last weekend, and one of us participated in it.
Yep.
Usually
True
we
story.
all do, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was super bummed to actually miss the pre-release, but Kathleen and I were at the Midwest Media Expo in Detroit, and the one we were in the D, and the one Magic vendor at the tabletop room didn't, like, a pre-release was on the schedule.
And we were super excited. We're like, yay, we're not going to miss the pre-release after all. And then Graham went and like found out about it, and they're like, no.
We're like, we didn't get the packs. We're not doing it. And I was like, oh, because there's a lot of people asking for it. And the guy running the tabletop games room was sort of like, if you could, there are a lot of people asking. It'd be great if you could do it. And the guy who runs the store was like, I'll see if I can find some packs. And didn't.
All right.
So kind of bummer. But we did draft with it.
Yeah,
We'll
we
talk
had-
about that as well.
We
so.
had our friend and viewer of our Magic streams, Capel, got his hands on some Journey Into Nyx boosters, and we put together a little 8-man draft pod.
Yeah, so that was
For
fun.
release
So we can talk
weekend.
about that too. But first,
Crack a pack.
James acquired this, which
Lost
is
it.
indeed a pack of Journey Into Nyx. I don't think they do. They don't do the.
They
flavor
haven't
on
done the
pack
flavor
yet.
on the pack in
How do you
years. I don't
guys
think.
get the pack so early?
Well, they
Well,
came out today, so
In this case, they
So you
officially
bought one.
released today.
I went to the store and bought it.
So, first up, Font of Return. Are
Fonts
any,
are-
are any of the
I don't think
fonts-
any of the fonts
green
are good.
one is good because it's Explore.
I guess.
Yeah.
How much
Or
does
is
it
it
cost?
Rampant Growth? It's 2 to play and then 2 to sack.
Oh, that's so expensive.
Yeah,
You're just trying
I
to
know.
trigger
Twice the-
Constellation out
twice
these things,
the cost
right?
of Rampant
I
Growth.
think if
Ugh.
Constellation is your plan, then
Anyway,
sure.
so Font of Return, it's 1 and a black for an enchantment. It does nothing. It just sits there. But for 3 and a black and sacrifice it, return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand.
Okay,
Meh.
so I was thinking about how you
sounds
might want to use
awful.
this.
Okay.
The white-black heroic deck,
Uh-huh.
you could use it to get back your Baleful Eidolons that you traded off aggressively.
And then bestow them.
Yeah, and
Oh,
bestow
yeah,
them. Like,
I
I think
guess.
there are uses for this in a very specific deck.
I'd probably just rather run March of the Returned because it only costs...
Yep. Yeah, no, this card is
Look,
just
stop
not.
it. I found a use for
This
it.
card is not very good.
Yeah, I don't think any of the fonts
No,
are,
no.
are that great. Aerial Formation. That's not that's not supposed to be Thassa, right?
I don't think so. It doesn't really look like it.
No.
see?
It looks she looks terrifying.
she
whatever
looks
that
like-
thing is.
She mad.
Some sort of
It's
horrible
Thassa.
sea beast.
Maybe it's Thassa in the morning. Like she hasn't put on her makeup. Or, I don't know.
Hashtag
It's cold.
no filter.
Hashtag no filter.
All right, so this is Aerial Formation. It is a
It's
single.
hashtag no makeup selfie.
Whoa, you all right there?
No.
Swarthy film noir femme fatale. No makeup selfie. Aerial Formation. Single blue mana for an instant. Any number of target creatures each get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. And the strive cost to make that actually happen is 2 and a blue.
I
So
kinda
you get
like
to target
this
one.
card.
You get to target 1 guy for 1 blue, two guys for 2 blue, 3 guys or for 4 blue.
Yeah.
Okay, like it
Jinx.
seems fairly it seems conceivable that you could target 2 guys with that and like punch in for the win.
Yeah.
I
no,
think
I
that's
mean,
good in a green-blue deck where you got these
That could be
enormous creatures.
yeah, like that is definitely where you want
I mean,
it to go.
Yeah, because the thing is, I don't think this needs. I don't think it matters that this is an instant because I think you're only going to use it in a situation like that because you're going to want to cast it before blockers anyway, so the evasion actually matters. And then the only other option is using it as like a surprise get your flyer, which seems dumb.
I like that it's instant, so you can use it that way.
I guess. Hey,
This card's good.
Magma Spray.
Just
2
straight up
damage
good.
to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead for a single red.
Currently the front runner of
Yep,
first
first
pick.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real good.
That's a
We're
good
all
card.
we're all paying close attention to this because we would actually be drafting these cards.
Yeah.
So we're all
We're going to
evaluating.
be drafting them real soon. Eagle of the Watch. It is a 2/1 bird for 2 and a white with flying and vigilance.
Fine.
This card was,
I guess.
It was fine. I saw it. I came up against it.
It seems like a good
Bestow target.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a very good
ground
bestow.
level. For
Yeah, it's
to bestow. The vigilance I think helps.
the vigilance helps a lot. I saw that 3 of the 5 matches I went up against in the pre-release, and at least in sealed, it was good enough that it got in there, and the vigilance is just a pain.
That Cyclops down there is like he's really tilted.
Yeah, he's angry.
Yeah.
Damn it, stupid bird.
Font of Fertility. So
Oh no,
There's-
it's 1 and so it's only 3. So it is.
Alright, so it's better, but still. So yeah.
So it's rampant growth.
No,
or is it
because
explore?
rampant growth is still. Those are both still 1 and a green. So anyway, Font of Fertility is a single green for an enchantment. Sits there, does nothing. And then for 1 and a green and sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped.
I don't know. Ramp.
So it
seems
is
to
rampant
be,
growth.
Ramp seems to be useful.
Yeah, but rampant growth only costs 1 and a green.
Right.
So it's 1 and a
What's
green.
worse?
But
But
there's a lead in. Hang on, what's Paul saying?
I was saying this, the 2 aspects of this that people have mentioned, not a huge deal, but 1, it is an enchantment, so it's going to power up your
The fonts
stuff.
do hit constellation.
And 2, the sacrifice, you can sacrifice it as an instant, of course.
Yes.
yeah.
So you can do it at the
Trigger
end of your
landfall.
opponent's turn.
Yes, 'cause that's a-
instead of doing it, whereas rampant growth is a sorcery.
That's
so
true.
Yep.
It's something, still not great, but
I don't know. I
This
would
one-
be tempted to run this if I had a lot of green beef I wanted to put down.
The only reason that I dig this more than the other ones is because it only costs 1,
Yeah.
and you're rarely doing much with your first turn. So if you do get this in your opening hand, then cool. If not,
Well, then you're. I don't know. I'm fine with that.
I'm not a big fan of the fonts, but that's me. Pin to the Earth. Speaking of Thassa,
Big spear.
yeah, big Bident. 1 and a blue for a creature enchantment. It's an enchantment, triggers your constellation. Enchant creature, enchanted creature gets -6, -0.
So I call
Get
flavor.
outta here.
I call flavor fault here. It's called Pin to the Earth.
Yeah.
What else should this creature lose?
Flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like if it has flying, it loses flying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or something like
It
that.
really
You're calling
should.
it Pin to the Earth. Like,
What is that?
It's a gigantic Bident.
No, the Bident
What's
is.
underneath the
What
Bident?
is it? It
A
looks,
sad man.
No, it looks like a.
Crab
I don't know, actually.
people. Crab
It looks like he's turning
people.
into like a tree.
Weird.
Okay, I did not like this card until I was listening to the Limited Resources set review, and they're like, okay, now here's the advantage to this over many other things. If you put this on somebody's Bestow Voltron, chances are it might not have 6 power, but then it's not like bouncing or destroying it where they get all their Voltron pieces back. Then it just sits there.
yep. It's definitely a way to shut down those cards without having to deal with all the, 1, 2, 3 bestow creatures that are on top of it as well.
It can still block.
Yeah, and that's the downside, right? Is it can still block and well too, probably.
I mean, I guess it's cheap, but I don't know.
No, I
I'm
don't think it's
still not a
I don't
huge
think it's
fan.
crazy good, but
But
that's
that's the use case they came up for. They liked it.
Fairies band Thunderhoof. It's 4 and a green for a 3/4 Centaur Warrior with the green heroic ability of whenever you cast a spell that targets Fairies band Thunderhoof, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
This is literally the only one of those ones where you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on it that I actually like. Because, like, at least if okay, 5 for a 3/4 is not good.
But it's okay.
It's better than 3 for a 1/1 or 4 for a 2/2.
the Oathsworn's good though. Like that
The
card,
1/1?
There's
the
I don't
1/1
know.
for 3
There's
that
a
gets
lot
I don't
plus
like
2
that
plus
card
2
at all.
or
There's a-
+1 +2 +1 +1. Sorry.
I
there's
don't
a-
like it.
There's a lot of
I don't want to pay 3 mana for a conditional 3/3. I can just get a 3/3 for 3 mana.
Yeah, there's a lot of differing opinion on the Oathsworn. Some people are like, I fucking love the Oath. Pardon me. Some people are like, I really, really love the Oathsworn, and other people are like,
I don't think it's like incredible, but I
think
like
it's
it in the
crap.
green. I like it in the green deck.
I do not.
think
I
it's good.
like playing the green deck. I do not run it.
I like it for the devotion, but the issue, yeah, like I can see the problem with the Oathsworn is like a Nessian Courser is easier to cast.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just a 3/3 for 3.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
the Oathsworn is a 1/1 for 3, and then after you've used a card,
Yep.
It's a
then
Nessian Courser.
Then it's a 3/3 for 3. So
then
it's
you
like
get a Nessian Courser.
Yep.
No, it's bad.
Or-
I don't like it. And yeah, it can get big and get crazy, but
All right, moving on.
but
What
this-
else we got?
this
This
one-
one's fine.
This one seems okay.
Yeah.
Gluttonous Cyclops. God, this thing was so annoying in the draft we played. Just because it was big. Just this late game annoying big thing.
I love the flavor on this card.
Nom, nom, nom. The Cyclops had learned to never eat a shepherd. Instead, he gently flung the pit aside to grow a new flock.
It's just like that guy is gonna have a hard life.
The pit.
The stupid Cyclops falling around. He's like, every time he makes it, the Cyclops eats all his stuff and is like, go do it again.
Oh, man.
It's like
So
the
it's
worst.
a 5/4 for 5 and a red. It's fine.
so many sheep going into his mouth.
Yeah.
Nom nom nom. They're like popcorn.
So the 5/4 for 6 is like yeah, it's all right, it's fine. And for one more, you can monstrify it for 5 red, monstrosity 3, and it turns into an 8/7, which is pretty hard to deal
Pretty
with.
beefy. Yeah.
How often do you
That's
get to
fine.
7 mana though? That's my concern with that card.
Happened to me.
Well, I mean the pre-release probably.
in sealed more often than draft probably, but we're gonna find out, right? Like,
I dig this guy a lot. This next guy, Blood Crazed Hoplite. He's a 2/1 for 1 and a black human soldier. I think he's the only black creature with this specific heroic ability, which is whenever you cast a spell that targets it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Which I think is like because I think it's the only black card that has that seems really strong. Additionally, whenever a +1/+1 counter is placed on Blood Crazed Hoplite for any reason, but most typically the heroic, but for any reason, remove a +1/+1 counter from target creature and opponent controls.
All right.
yeah,
I
that
like
card's
that.
really good.
yeah, that seems super good.
I was kind of surprised it's a common when I read it. To
I
be
like that a
honest,
lot.
I think it's really good. Yeah.
Oppressive Rays, Rays.
Oh, Ray.
It is a single white mana for an enchantment.
Why are you going to
aura.
keep me down?
This seems pretty sweet, actually. Single white mana for a creature enchantment. Enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 3 colorless. Activated abilities of enchanted creature cost 3 colorless more to activate.
That's kind of neat.
Depending on
Yeah.
what you put that on, that may as well just be hard removal.
It may as well just be a pacifism, yeah.
But I mean-
it's
Or
like a
rest.
pacifism.
It's like a rest, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Interesting.
thing is, like, they can pay it. So this card is terrible if you draw it late game.
Yeah.
But if you plop that on their 2-drop, they're probably just going to be like, ugh, and just move on with their lives. Right?
Yeah. Make sure that if you do that though, make sure that after like 3 turns of your opponent not paying for anything, make sure you don't forget that creature isn't just pacified or arrested.
Yeah.
That they could just be like, and
Pay
attack-
for it.
and pay 3 and attack
Yeah.
with this guy, and you're like, oh, I did not plan for another attacker.
I
Yeah.
feel that Oppressive Rays works well in a really, really, really aggressive deck where you can kill them. You can take your opponent down to no life before they have an opportunity to start being able to pay for that.
Yeah. So this guy's weird. I had one of these in draft. I didn't run him. I don't know how I feel about him. Marshall and Brian seem to like him, but I don't know. Quarry Colossus. So 5 white. So he's a 7-drop for a 5/6 giant. This 5/6 is nice and beefy. It's hard to get past. I love the templating on this card, by the way. When Quarry Colossus enters the battlefield, put target creature into its owner's library just beneath the top X cards of that library, where X is the number of planes you control.
So it's not gone, but boy, is that a tempo hit.
Yeah, so it's like they're going to draw it again, but not for a while.
Yeah, you're at least dropping it down
Well,
to third
at minimum too.
Yeah, because you need
cast
to cast. Yeah, exactly.
So it like super plow under as a creature.
Yeah, I like this guy. I don't know
the,
if he's.
Oust does it 3 from the top.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 3 from the top, and they gain 3 life, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This
there's
is
a-
real good. It comes with
I-
a big body, but it is 7
Yeah,
mana.
it's really expensive. I think it's going to be sort
I
of
need
this.
to know more.
Yeah, I think 7 mana spells are going to be those. Time will tell.
Speaking of time will tell, this is a weird one.
Sorry.
What's
just
up?
One amusing thing with the Quarry Colossus
Oh, yeah.
is That is not a May ability.
Oh.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So if he's the only creature that comes out, he then immediately puts himself 2 down from the top.
yeah.
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah. So, you know.
The old flame tongue Kavu gambit.
All right. Next up, we have Dacra Mystic.
That's a sweet art.
It's super cool. So it's a 1/1 for 1, which is kind of bleh. She's a merfolk wizard, and she has, for a blue and tap, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. You may put the revealed cards into their owner's graveyards. If you don't, each player draws a card. So it's you get to look at the tops of both players' libraries. They get to see it as well.
Yeah.
And you either go, we both don't ever get this ever, or it goes in the graveyard. So
Yeah.
it's either we both mill this or we both draw this.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out whether this was like a potential card in Highlander, and we don't know.
I don't think
We
anybody
can't
knows.
figure it
It's a
out.
super, super weird thing.
Like
It is
that's
very
a
weird.
messed up ability to try and resolve, and it's like, is it good?
I don't know.
I seriously
In-
have no answer.
In
for that
limited,
card.
I don't think this place has any.
I think it's bad in limited.
Yeah,
but
I think
in,
it's
like,
terrible in limited.
constructed?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel this card's amazing in Commander,
I like the flavor text.
right?
The flavor text of choices are rarely as simple as they seem.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel this card's amazing in like Commander.
In Commander, it
possibly
gets so
Highlander.
hard because like everybody reveals the top card of their library essentially, and now it's up to you, correct?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like
to make that
You've got-
decision.
Yeah.
Deciding for 4 or 5 people.
And it's just like, yeah, that's
It's also just like
that seems bad for you to be honest.
people
I-
play
it's good
Temple
to-
Bell, right?
it's-
So
Yeah, it's true.
How about
Good to
Temple
know-
Bell with info?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Alright.
That's exactly what it is. You get to see what other people are playing.
I can see that. Weird.
I don't know.
I just don't think it's good and limited, but
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
think it does
I think it's a
anything.
really
it's
good card.
It's a
though.
1/1 for 1 in limited.
Oh, I mean, maybe late game, you're like,
All right, let's
you
draw some cards.
you want to make sure that you don't draw land. You know, like you flip over a land, they flip over a spell, and you're like, yeah,
well,
we're gonna pitch these.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
But,
I think there's
so,
some.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll play with it and report back.
Our last uncommon, Agent of Erebos. It is a 2/2 for 3 and a black, which is not
Boo.
amazing, but it has constellation. This is the only constellation card we've seen. Whenever Agent of Erebos or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, exile all cards from target player's graveyard.
This is probably the least exciting of the constellation abilities.
Yeah,
It's
that
like-
seems more for constructed, and even then, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think
I
this guy
guess-
is actually kind of
The
bad.
thing is, it's only really relevant if your opponent's running like the graveyard plan, and this guy's the one in black.
Yeah,
So it's like your opponent. If you're in black,
Well, green black runs the graveyard plan.
yeah, but chances are, if you're already a player in black at a table of 8 drafters, chances are you're very unlikely to face someone else who is running
Yeah.
a lot of graveyards.
I should say though that I love the art on this card.
Oh, it's great.
It's so good.
He's the flavor text is Erebos' minions hunt the returned and warn those who consider the same folly. He's
Yeah.
going and getting all the returned masks. But
Yeah.
So it turns out, this has come up over the course of the block. Flavor wise, the returned are that happens by choice. That they're
Oh.
people who have died and gone to wherever people go, whatever they call the underworld. And then they put the mask on, and they come back. They come back to the real world as sort of zombie dudes.
And do more stuff.
But Erebos is not down with that.
Well, no.
And
He's not running a tight ship.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that this is our rare.
Oh no!
This is pretty sweet.
By which I mean mythic.
Yeah, it's a mythic, and the mythic is
Oh dear.
it's your worst fears.
Uh,
In that it is called Worst Fears. It is 7 and a black for a sorcery. You control target player during that player's next turn, and then you exile Worst Fears. So
Yeah, it's like there's maybe some sort of combo shenanigans to be done with this, but this card seems pretty
I saw it on
miserable to me.
Reddit. There's a red guy that if you don't pay the tribute, you get to play an instant or sorcery for free.
yep.
Yep.
That's a
Yeah,
sorcery.
that's the Oracle of Bones. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
if you can cheat that into play.
So yeah,
maybe
if you
it's
can
sweet.
if you can get it to 8, then that's a sweet effect.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's like
It's splashy.
like you say, it's miserable, Alex. Like it's miserable to cast. If you can cast it,
It's hilarious.
No, it's like if you resolve that
then
effect,
you're
it's
having a
sweet.
turn, you're having their turn, and then you're having your turn again before they get to go again.
You're
Yep.
probably gonna win.
Yeah, I mean
So-
it's just this one-shot mind slaver. You know?
Yeah, so there was an artifact called Mindslaver, most recently reprinted in Scar's Block, that was you control target player during their next turn. And there's one other card ever that I think lets you control a player during their turn.
Soren Markov?
Sora Markov.
Right. Yeah, Soren, yeah.
I mean, you can slaver lock people with Academy Ruins.
Yeah.
They're
like a million mana.
But they were on the limited resources rules review or rules thing. They were talking about what controlling a player during their turn actually means. And so there's obviously a couple things you can't do. You can't concede.
No.
You can't make them, like just sit there and like slow play or go to time or whatever. It's still
Don't be
your
a D-bag.
Yeah. I've never done it on Magic Online. Presumably it still uses your clock.
On Magic Online, it would probably have to because
otherwise you just take their turn and then sit
just-
there and
and
let
then
them
sit
like,
there.
I win.
Yeah.
That would be filthy.
I wonder how they do that. I don't know.
So
It's like sometimes when I think I've had this effect on my side of the table a couple times, and occasionally you will look at their hand, see nothing, just be like, well, I guess I tap all your lands,
Yeah.
give you some terrible attacks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
just
usually the best case scenario is like tap, like use their removal on
Their own
Their own creatures.
attack their creatures unfavorably into your creatures, use the combat tricks on your
creatures, yep.
and then tap them out of all their mana and then pass the turn back. And
Which can be
that's-
pretty
it
devastating.
can be
I mean,
extremely
I think
devastating.
if this resolves against you, you probably just concede.
But
'cause
curiously,
Well, it
one thing I
depends.
found very interesting on the from that rules thing is that okay, so unlikely to ever come up, but in a game of limited, you are allowed to look at your sideboard during a game. So if you are controlling a player during their turn, you do get to look at the rest of their limited pool.
What?
Yeah, you
Interesting.
Can, you don't get to look. You can do anything that player could do. So you don't get to just pick up their deck and look through it because they wouldn't be allowed to do that anyway.
no.
But you can look through the rest of their picks.
Interesting.
Yeah, which could be relevant if you're wondering what sort of sideboard stuff they could bring in. You do not get to see any notes that they've kept because that is information outside the game.
see, this is what you need the font of fertility for.
To what? Oh, just to sack it and fail to find?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, just like,
Oh, you mean ramping into worst fears? Is that what
no,
you're saying?
no, to sack it to fail to find so you
Has-
can search their library.
oh, failed to find. It's just like, I'll
Oh.
cast this tutor. Oh, I didn't find anything I wanted.
Oh, weird.
That's so weird. I forgot to +1 this planeswalker.
Oh, what a shame.
Darn.
Oh.
Or you like minus it for some stupid thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I'm just taking Magma
you're
Spray,
just
probably.
taking magma spray.
Okay,
at,
so-
at this point in where I am with drafting, which is 0, I would probably just take Magma Spray.
Okay, so say magma spray's out of there. What do you take?
Uh,
I take Eagle of the Watch.
I'd probably take blood crazed hoplite.
yeah. Blood Crazed
Like,
Hoplight's pretty sweet.
The uncommons are actually pretty unexciting for me. Except,
Yeah.
like I want to see if the Quarry Colossus is as good as I think it could be, but I'm afraid that it might not be. So I'd probably just take blood crazed hoplite because
Yep.
it seems like a little aggro and nice, and also not really passing any amazing black cards.
Plus, you might get Worst Fears wheel on the wheel.
probably would.
Actually, out of this pack, you might not. Somebody might just take that and be like, woohoo,
Sweet,
$1
we're
or
going
two.
like mono black control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So how was the pre-release for you?
Okay,
guys?
so the pre-release, I won't lie, it wasn't the best pre-release. My results were not great. I went 2 and 3. I picked green, mainly because I like green, and I thought it would be like I like green in this format. I like all the cards that green has. So I thought, okay, let's
you
do
were one
this.
of the 10% who didn't pick white.
Yeah, and that was actually true. Like, so not as heavily as attended as I was expecting. There was like 30 some odd people there.
Really?
And more than half of them, I would say more than half of them were over or were playing white. And the other half were honestly the people who played white on the Saturday and were coming in to try something different, which is fantastic.
Wow.
So
Well, the Sunday's usually less.
the Sunday is generally a little slower anyways, but regardless, the promo thing is I think been talked a lot over the last week.
I mean,
it's something that even Wizards has said that they realize is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I say Wizards, but at least Mark Rosewater,
Mark and Aaron have said something. I think
both
publicly.
have said that they felt that So what we're talking about here is that there's the five colors. You got to pick your color.
Yeah.
And each color came with a specific promo card that you got to use in your deck. And I don't actually recall what all 5 of them were, but the white one was the Dawnbringer Charioteers, which was the 2/4 flying lifelink for 4 with heroic, gets a +1/+1 counter. That is a massive bomb.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the cards, the rest of the other 4 are super expensive.
Well, okay, so
Hero's Bane.
Green isn't actually super expensive. It's
No.
a 4-drop.
And I saw a lot of people talk about using Hero's Bane and actually having a lot of success with it. In fact, someone tweeted at us or said in the chat room that they got theirs up to like a power and toughness of 4,098.
And they're like, okay, well, I mean, the biggest problem with Hero's Bane is that if you don't have a way of giving him some sort of evasion, flying, trample, whatever, he's really actually just not that good. You know, a 4/4 isn't really all. A 64/64 is no better than a 4/4 if you can't get through.
If they can just block
If they can just block every turn, and that's sort of the position that I found myself in.
Were you like held off by like a sedge scorpion or something?
Yeah, and it was just even just 1/1s and like just sort of playing
Anybody
at
with
parity.
flying.
And it was frustrating, and I had the I can't remember the green card. The 5/5 Constellation, when an enchantment comes into play, your whole team gets trample.
Oh, the something of mortals, but not the nemesis of mortals. The other thing.
I can't remember what it's called, but I had that in my deck. I didn't draw it once.
Oh, rough.
All day. And that was probably the most frustrating part, is that he was there. He was cool. I like this card. I was so happy when I opened him because I was like, perfect, this works really well with Hero's Bane because now I can actually give him trample and get through for a whole bunch of damage, but just never drew it.
But the problem is that the other promo cards were not nearly as as efficient or like easily castable.
So
Correct.
hold on, I want to just chime in. This is a little. I just want to talk about that card because James was talking about it, and I won't talk about it in our portion. I drafted that card, and I was like, okay, this is going to be either really good or really bad.
What's it called again? Sorry, Humbler of Mortals.
Not the Humbler of Mortals.
You're thinking Hero's Bane?
The Hero's Bane.
Yeah, the
6/6 for 4.
The 4/4. 4/4
yeah.
for 4, and you need double it.
Oh no, I'm
Or
talking.
5.
No, which one were you talking about?
The green promo, which is the 4/4 for 5. And then when you pay 2 and green, you double its power and toughness.
I thought you were talking about the one that it was a 6/6, but it casts for 4, but you can't attack. But if you take combat damage, you have to sacrifice
That's a cool card. I like that card a lot.
Never mind. I'll tell you. I'll talk about that during the draft portion of this podcast.
But yeah, no, I mean, the biggest problem was that the power
don't know
level
all the names of the
between
cards yet.
white and everything else was just not great. And 3 of the 5 matches I played, incidentally, the ones I all lost, were against the white deck.
So here was the option. So there was Dawnbringer Charioteers, which we've already talked about. The blue one was Scourge of Fleets, which is powerful. It's a 6/6 for 7.
Yep.
And when it enters the battlefield, you return each creature your opponent's control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. Only problem is that is a 7-drop.
Yep.
And if you're fighting the Dawnbringer Charioteers, you're not living that long.
Nope.
In black, it was the Doomwake Giant.
Now, this is what Adam played.
Which is this guy also very powerful. He's a 4/6 for 5, which is great in black. And with Constellation, whenever Doomwake Giant or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, creatures your opponent's control get -1/-1 until end of turn.
Yep.
Very good. But on turn 5, a -1/-1 is unlikely to kill anything that your opponent has.
Yep.
And then red, it was the Spawn of Thraxes, which is a 5/5 again for 7. Is a dragon, and it flies, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of mountains you control. So you can probably kill a creature out of that,
Yep.
which is good if you're on 7 mana. But again, it's super expensive, and you compare those in the power level to the Dawnbringer Charioteers, and it's like, oh, that's clearly if you were deciding.
Yeah, if you open a pack and you see all 5 of these cards,
take Dawnbringer
you're going to
Charioteers,
always take the Charioteers.
And everyone got to pick. It's like, what color you want to play? And
Yeah.
everyone's like, well, I know it's a pre-release and it isn't necessarily meant to be super competitive, but I
That
still
seems like a really cool card.
like winning,
Yep.
so I will take the most powerful card. And
Yep.
so you had like 80% of people playing white at this thing.
So,
again,
it
like I
was-
said, Wizards is like, we realized this was a problem and we messed that up.
Yep.
All right. I mean, it's a pre-release. It's not a competitive event.
No, and It was fine. I didn't. I'm trying to remember all the
But
games
like the
I
problem
actually
is
played.
that card is on the limited resources scale. Like it's an A. It's evasive. It does stuff.
Oh, it's
it has,
really good.
It's
Yeah.
so good. It's a legit bomb. And everything else is like, I can see how this would be good
Yep.
in a certain situation.
Yep.
Right? Like the white promo should have been this 7-drop giant.
Well, it's the white one. The thing is, it doesn't have
The Quarry Colossus.
it doesn't ask anything of you, right? Even
No.
if you don't heroic it, it's still a 2/4 flying lifelink. Which, if you remember, Seraph of Dawn from Avacyn Restored was
very
really good.
It
Yep.
was like the first pick card in that format.
So
Yeah, I mean, it was a good day. I'm excited to actually draft the format.
how did you end up doing overall?
At the pre-release?
Yeah.
I went
So
two.
you
I
went
went 2 and
Oh,
3.
yeah, I missed
I went.
that, sorry.
Lost against white,
Oh.
and then round 4 I beat a guy playing who picked red, and then in round 5 I beat a guy who was playing black, and
How did Adam do?
also 2 and 3.
Wow, that's the worst pre-release.
Yeah, it's one of the worst he's ever done too.
Adam usually like 5-0s those mothers.
He normally does very, very well. He wasn't super happy either. All the games were actually really, like, I'm not going to say it sucked, because all the games were actually really good. Every match went to 3. I didn't get completely stomped by any of the decks I went up against. Also, I haven't actually mentioned this yet. I picked green. My secondary color ended up being red, which was... It was okay. Like, it was...
Did you have a Fanatic of Xenagos?
No, I did not. It just turned into sort of this red-green creatures deck, like super, like nothing really exciting, nothing flashy. Like, I opened up my pool and I was like,
Just really efficient.
it's like, yeah, it wasn't even that efficient though. Like, it really wasn't. Like,
James, you can see where you screwed up here, right?
and how is that?
Well, you needed to add black.
Okay. Well, next time
so
I'll
you
add
can
black.
jund him out.
Jund them out. Yeah, that's right. I should jund them out. Just jund them out.
That's why you
But-
lost.
I mean, sealed has never really been something I'm super keen on. I'm excited to draft the format, which I will actually be doing in hopefully 40 minutes from now. So hopefully next episode I can tell you guys about my experiences with actually drafting the format. But in the meantime, we can listen to Graham and Kathleen talk about their experience with drafting the format, because
Yeah.
they actually got a chance to.
So the way that the tabletop area was sort of managed at the Midwest Media Expo was basically, if you want to play Magic,
Well,
you
go
can-
to it.
yeah, go ahead. Go to the you can either you go to the Magic vendor and you buy some packs and you draft them, and if you want prizes, you buy another pack.
Now, the Magic
And so-
vendors were super
Sweet
helpful about
prizes.
supplying basic land. They were really nice. Like, if we need land, they just crack a fat pack for us.
Oh,
They
it was
were-
so funny. The first draft we did, all 8 of us were sitting there, and we opened the pack and it's like haven't even like removed the foil, right? Just ripped, and someone walking past was like, "Hey, do you guys have land?" And the whole table was like, "Oh no!"
Always
But the-
travel with a land.
But
station.
yeah, the vendor were like, "Oh, if you need them, we'll just crack open a Theros fat pack, because then we get the packs and we'll just sell the packs."
They were really nice. So anyhow,
Yeah, so we ended up sort of like running it ourselves and being like, "All right, look, everyone go buy 4 packs. Everyone will
this person,
put 4 in the thing." And
Graham was organizing who
Yeah.
got what match. But anyhow, it was really fun. We did 2 drafts. We did a Born of the Gods Theros the Friday night. And I finally mastered that format because I went 3-0 in that draft.
yeah, you crushed it.
But my deck was disgusting. It was a
I
blue-green
appreciate
deck.
how when you go 3-0, you've mastered the format.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
like, when I started out, I was like, I don't know how to draft this at all. Like, it has a learning curve.
Yep.
But I finally kind of figured that out. That's the first Journey Theros draft I've 3-0'd.
yeah, we still didn't have the.
Born of
I've-
the Gods, Theros, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we still haven't had the blue intervention with Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really like blue.
What your deck was blue.
Blue-green.
Oh right, you had the filthy blue green deck with the Prophet of Krufix. And,
Yes.
Whoa, that card's so good.
Oh. Anyhow, so that was fun. So I've only drafted that format like 5 times though, so I feel it's a moral victory.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so when we did Journey Into Nyx, and so it was Journey, Born of the Gods, Theros, and of course Journey is the first pack you crack. This is like pre-release night, and we're all looking at these cards, and everybody's like, "What do I pick?" And like I hadn't really studied the set or listened to the set review yet, so I was like, I don't even recognize what a lot of these cards are. I believe I took an Eagle of the Watch first pick just because I wasn't sure and I like evasive creatures, but then I ended up going into like green-black.
I don't remember what my first pick was. I'd played on the Friday night, the BTT draft, I'd played Boros, and so I don't know if I psyched myself out of this. I often try to not do, and I did quite well. So I was trying to not look to do Boros again because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just like best case scenarioing myself into Boros worked well last night, so I should draft Boros again. So I would think I was trying to avoid it more than I should have. And as it turns out, it was completely open, so I ended up in Boros again at the end of it. Mm-hmm. But I can't actually remember what my first pick out of the Journey pack was. I'm going to assume it was a rare. No, actually, it wasn't. And that's why I can't remember it. But I certainly ended up with a lot of rares. It was really gross, my deck.
Yeah. But yeah, I interestingly, I had I moved into green pretty quick because I realized I was getting cut on white, which was fine. But I don't know, like Journey Into Nyx, there's either cards that are real good and cards that are kind of okay. And so I think like I think adding Journey Into Nyx is going to actually take the power level like down as a whole, because like Born of the Gods, the cards are not great on the power scale, but Theros, the cards are really good, right?
I think it's bringing this back up.
I think it's bringing it back up a little bit, but there are still some like just I'm not taking this cards in Journey.
Still down from Triple Theros.
From Triple Theros, which was just a bonkers format. It was off the hook because there's no bestow at common in Journey Into Nyx.
That's true.
There's a lot of constellation creatures, and I really like the Oakheart Dryads. They're a 2/3 for green and 2, and whenever them or another creature comes into play under your control, you get a creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn, which is 2/3 for 3 is a fine playable card, and they have a little tiny upside, so I'm fine with that. And I got them like early almost every game, so they're super good.
I'm glad that the red in Journey Into Nyx is not super bonkers, because it means that by the time the Born of the Gods pack comes around, the people who are in red know that they're in red, and they're not just going to be like, well, I guess I take all these Fall of the Hammers and Bolts of Keranos.
Right.
Black is worse again, though. I've noticed, though, like I found the black cards that I was picking up because black was open was not super exciting. I didn't get any removal, but I think that like there's not a ton of removal floating around.
I just remember what my first pick was.
What?
Actually, it was the Dawnbringer Charioteers.
Ah.
So I was like, oh, it's this card.
That seems good.
Well, everyone's been talking about how good this card is, the pre-release. I may as well just take it. So I took it, and then I ended up being in Boros. Let me tell you, Sigiled Starfish.
Yeah, Scryfish
is really good.
Yep.
He's really, really good.
Yep.
My opponent, we got into a board stall. My opponent must have scryed like 13 times with that friggin' thing, and he kept saying, "This is again." I was playing against Capol, and he kept looking and going, "Oh, I'm so bad," and leaving it on top. And he kept drawing land, and I was like, "Why does he keep scrying land to the top of his deck? He's got like 7 mana out now. Why isn't he like scrying this away?" And eventually, he gets to 8 land and casts Colossus of Akros.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh. And I just couldn't win after that point. By the way, let me tell you about this amazing blowout that he did. I swing in with... What am I attacking with? With a Spirit of the... Oh, yeah. I swing with 3 rares here. I had...
Rare Force 1.
Yeah, it was amazing. I had... Hero of Iroas.
Okay.
With a Eidolon of Countless Battles bestowed upon him.
Okay.
And I'd already used a combat trick, so he was a 6/6, this hero. And a Spirit of the Labyrinth.
Okay.
And all my opponent had was the Starfish.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right. So I just swing in. My opponent goes, all right, I'll block the 3/1 with my 0/3. And I'm like, okay. Then he casts Aerial Formation on the Sigiled Starfish to make it a 1/4.
Okay.
Which is just enough to kill the thing and live. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks. That thing's going to die, but whatever. So I respond with something. I can't remember what. I think it was actually a combat trick on the hero.
Okay.
Or something wherein it would have been like lethal or getting well within lethal range or whatever. It was whatever it was. I wouldn't have been able to save my spirit. And he responds to that with retraction helix on the starfish.
Oh God.
Bounces my hero, eats the spirit, and I'm left with a 1/1 Eidolon of Countless Battles.
Ugh.
And he took no damage. And I'm like, oh, I had a really strong start, and now I have nothing. It was really backbreaking.
Blue, man. I mean, like, I think blue looks good. I think blue looks good. I think green is okay. I think white is real good, and black is, like, actively worse.
By the way, this is the most rare heavy deck I ever had. This was a Boros deck. I had Hero of Iroas, Eidolon of Countless Battles, Spirit of the Labyrinth, Dawnbringer Charioteers, Fated Conflagration, and Annex and Chimede.
Wow.
Who never showed up.
I like the flighted. I like the burn spell. That's
yeah.
fine.
So I went in my deck. My deck was okay. Like, I found the power level of black was kind of low. I probably didn't make the best picks I could have because I wasn't familiar with the format. But I went green black and I ended up going 1 and 2. But like, I lost my 2 games and like they were grindy and stuff like that. It's not like I was just.
I had great games that whole time.
Yeah,
but,
I felt that it was conceivable that I could have won. Like, it was close. I was close to winning a couple of those matches, so I was not feeling particularly like salty. Also, it was my first draft, so whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I did. So I picked up that 6/6 for 4, and I can't remember what it's called. It's that big green dude.
Which big green dude?
If you would be dealt combat damage, you have to sacrifice it.
Oh, the Swarmborn Giant.
I think so.
Yeah. He looks really cool.
Okay, so I picked him up because I was like, this is either going to be really good or really bad.
I saw him and was like, this looks like garbage. And then only later did I realize he has reach.
Yeah.
He doesn't have reach.
He does have reach.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Paul? Ruling?
When he's monstrous, he has
Yes.
reach.
When he is monstrous, he has reach.
Yeah, but I missed that. I was like, oh, and he just gets bigger. Okay.
Wait, so what's
the monstrous cost on that is
6.
6. So that's 2 turns where you can't.
And what's the monstrous?
So he's
No,
got
that is the monstrous.
monstrous.
He's a
2,
Oh, he just gets
monstrous
reach.
2, and he gets reach.
Oh, it's monstrous 2. That's what I was
He
asking.
gets 8/8 reach.
How many monsters? So you get an 8/8 reach.
So it's a 6/6 for 4, and then turns into a 8/8 for another 6 with reach.
Yeah, so which seems fantastic. But the trick is keeping him alive until, like, he is great if you are aggressive, which is a little hard when you're in green because green tends to be a bit more of a mid-rangey deck. Like, maybe he'd be good with white. But the issue is that if you cast him when your opponent has more creatures than you are immediately going to sacrifice him.
Yeah.
Unless you can, and if you cast him against a blue deck and where they have a really good chance of having flyers, you may as well not bother. I had the guy that when he comes in, you count how many forests you have, and you reveal the top X cards of your library according to how many forests you have, and you may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. I had that. I can't remember what that one's called either. Sorry, guys.
I don't know the card names yet.
Sorry.
Not gonna lie.
What was it again?
It's like a 5/5, and when it comes in, you can look at the top X cards of your library.
Oh, the Nessian Game Warden.
Yeah, Nessian Game Warden. That's it. So I had that, and I looked at the top X cards, and my Swarmborn Giant was in there, but because I was already on the back foot, I was like, I'm not freaking casting this for 4 mana, only to have it immediately disappear because my opponent has more attackers and I have blockers, and I pulled out something else. Right? Like, it's really good if you can either monstrous it right away so it has reach and it can swat down a flyer, if you can somehow give it haste so it can attack immediately, or if or you're already ahead on the board.
Would it have been worthwhile? How many more attackers?
She had like 2.
So would playing the Swarmborn Giant have forced her into making a bad attack?
No, because she had flying attackers.
Okay, flying is different, but you said more. All you said was more attackers than you had blockers, and so I was thinking, like, that's still a 6/6. You're gonna get to eat something. Like, if that forces your opponent into doing an all-out attack, that's good.
Yeah. But if they have one flyer, then
if they have one flyer, then it's useless. Yeah.
you're just effed. Like, I think this card is really good in the right deck, but I'm not sure what it might be a green-white deck. Like, something that is, can get down enough meat and go aggressively enough that it's a real threat.
Just main deck 3 copies of Fog.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's a good
works
idea.
too.
Yeah, that's a sweet idea,
I was
actually.
kidding.
There's no fog in
Four,
this
four.
format.
Okay,
There is Defend the Hearth.
yeah.
Oh, Defend the Hearth. Oh, maybe there's finally use for Defend the Hearth.
This guy will definitely get into my. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that right now. So,
But yeah,
moving
I
on.
don't know. So that was my opinion on the
That's a
block.
whole other
Like,
hole to
I
get
think
down.
it's good. I obviously have no freaking clue how to draft it yet. But I feel that if you're drafting black, the quality of cards is going to go down even from a Born Theros draft because black cards are not amazing. So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
But blue and white, there's not going to be any blue intervention because I am going to aggressively draft blue because blue is amazing.
Blue.
Blue.
Kathleen's takeaway
is blue.
Well, no, the joke here is that for I think the last 7 or 8 drafts I've done, except for that one where I just talked about, I have drafted blue and done very well because I love blue. Like, we joke about me playing black in Friday nights, but I think my heart is actually blue, especially for limited because I really love to draft in blue. You can draft evasive creatures. That's so good. And then you can draw cards and put down more creatures. I love it so much.
And recently,
Dear God.
I have played Shadowmoor Eventide a bunch and not done well, but enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
You
That's
went
fair.
2-1
That's true.
with that elf deck.
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
Piker score.
I did have a deck that had like 16 elf
Nice.
spells that was pretty gross, including like several spells that care if you have or that if you cast or control elves. So that was exciting.
Is there any more flashbacks, or are we into the last
Shadowmoor
week?
Eventide is, I think it's the last.
Is the last one?
I think that's it, and then presumably they'll do more after people are sick of.
Well, yeah,
Journey?
because then we get into Journey, so there's that. And okay, cool. Yeah. Exciting.
But yeah, those. I mean, I guess we're not making any sweeping statements about Journey into Nyx, but we had fun with it so far.
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. Let us know how your pre-release. I mean, a bunch of you have been telling us on Twitter how your pre-releases have gone. Like I said, people with giant heroes banes make for good
Yeah.
stories. So yeah, let us know how your pre-releases went and if you've managed to draft yet. And yeah, James will have to keep us posted on how this draft went.
Yep.
So
I'm excited.
sweet.
And of course, mono green.
Yeah.
Green seems like it's very good.
Green.
I think you should
Like,
call
green
that
got-
going Hulk.
Going
Just
Hulk.
forcing mono
Hulk
green.
out?
You just Hulk out.
Colossal Heroics. Is that what it's called?
Oh, it's like the
I think it's
+2/+2 with Strive.
yeah, it's a
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
Savage Surge with Strive.
With Strive. Yeah, yeah.
It's +2/+2 and untap it.
Yeah,
for
that's a sick combat trick.
for 3.
Yeah, and
but the
then-
Strive cost is just like is 1 and a green, just like casting Savage Surge again.
Yeah.
I think it's called Colossal Heroics. Anyway, that
I
card
draft-
seems really good.
I
Yeah.
drafted that card and it never showed up once. I was really excited. I was like,
The worst.
It seems really strong.
yeah, I'm sure it
You turn
was.
them into
I'm sure it
giant
would have been.
things. Yeah.
Oh well. I mean, what you gonna do, right?
I don't know. Cry and be sad about it. Quit Magic. That's what you're gonna do.
That's what you're gonna do about it.
never,
it up.
Never play
I'm out of
again.
here. Oh wait, but
What?
before we go, I have a tip.
Okay.
Somebody told me, our friend Serge told me, that the little ad cards, which I have been playing around with and bending, if you can see on this, if you've ever like torn up a Magic card, you'll see that they have like a blue plastic insert in there to make them harder to. I'm assuming harder
A,
to
make them more durable, and B, I think it's a counterfeiting
Yeah.
measure.
The ad cards don't have that because who cares? So it means they're recyclable.
Yay.
So that's kind of nice if you draft a lot.
This is where the more you knows flies across the
Lottie
screen.
Love the
Hey, it's
environment.
good. It's good to be.
Yeah,
able
it's good to know,
recycle
man.
I
stuff.
dig it.
I didn't know that. I've been throwing these in the trash. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something.
Save the planet.
Green.
Especially for because green.
Save the planet. Force mono green.
Yeah.
Force mono green. Recycle your ad cards. All right. That's our takeaway. Until next time, thank you all for listening to Tap Tap Concede. And we will talk to you next time.
Bye
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Until next time, we'll talk to you next time. Awkward.